This is my neighborhood. This is Chelsea. This is where I grew up. This is where my mom and my family members bought all the Latino essentials. Buenos días, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Ahí lo más bien, ¿y tú? This is where people also gave us a label. They thought that we were not gonna make it, but we made it. We made it because we were at the table. We were demanding change. This is where I also learned to love my community. This is where I also learned that environmental justice matters, that good housing matters. The social justice issues are very important for us to make change. And this is the city that I grew up to love. This is where I have remained. I came from Puerto Rico, from a mother that was single with 4 children, a big family, but a family that was bound to fail because all the labels, because everything that we had reflected on our failure. But I didn't let that failure or that label get to us. We continue to learn as much as we can, to make mistakes while we were organizing. And I made this my city, and I made this my journey. This is the legacy that I want to leave behind. A legacy where environmental justice matters, where community residents have a place at the table, where immigrant families, citizens of the United States come together to work together to build a better Chelsea. Chelsea was a place that everybody thought that it was going to fail, and we haven't. We learned from those mistakes, we got civically engaged, and we're making things happen. When I think about Chelsea and environmental justice movement, I think of a place that I have no access to. You know, the city of Chelsea is surrounded by water in 3 parts, and the residents hardly have any access. The access that we have had is fighting for environmental justice for over 23 years at La Colaborativa, where we defeated a lot of campaigns, that we defeated a power plant. We worked towards with the salt pile to basically make sure that that salt that is used to de-ice our roads was sealed and concealed so that it doesn't harm our community members. We have oil farms that provide gas and fuel to the airplanes at Logan Airport. I think what I try to achieve in terms of environmental justice is for us to make sure that environmental justice looks in different ways. It could be fighting a power plant, fighting an asphalt plant, or making sure that our tenants, that they have good air quality, and that air quality is being monitored by the workers in our community that we're teaching how to get those accreditations, so they're the ones doing the inspections. I want to make sure that our green industry looks like us, that when we create workforce development programs, that we create an environmental movement so that our residents, our immigrant families that are becoming citizens, that have some type of status, are able to get those good jobs and protect the environment while they are actually enhancing their quality of life. This is what Chelsea is about, and this is what La Colaborativa, and this is what, through my leadership, I try to achieve every day in different forms for our city. In a community like Chelsea and surrounding community, people are constantly being oppressed, or we need to be ready for action. That is why I always have an outfit, my boots on the ground, my sneakers, and my high heels for those presentations. In many areas of our community, we see spaces where they have a lot of potential. This particular area was called Forbes Industrial Park. This was in probably around, I want to say probably 15 years ago. A group of millionaires were proposing a power plant 50 feet away from our school, the houses over 2,000 children of Chelsea residents. Imagine building a power plant with the train, with all these buildings, and housing the largest elementary school in the region. For us, it was an incredible battle. It took 2 years to defeat this group of millionaires that they were not able to do a power plant in our city. But one of the biggest accomplishments was to build this food pantry in the porch of my house. 250 people came. in an hour, I distribute a truck full of food. If there's something that called my attention, my gut told me to do something, was that there was something about food that was going to happen during the pandemic. The devastation of our community was huge. And from there, I began to knock all the warehouses that I knew that were sell food in large capacity. I knew that the New England Produce Center, I knew how much food they had. I went knocking on those doors and I said, whatever you're gonna throw in the landfill, I'll be your recycling company. Allow me to have that food so I can feed my community. So when we think about social justice issue, it's everything that has to do with housing, immigration, youth empowerment. It has to do with racism. And we suffer all those social determinants. We suffer everything from having a polluted household or having pollutants in our house to making sure that our spaces are free of housing code. I think this space represents the courage that every member of our community had. The courage when residents got together and say, not in my backyard. And you're right, it didn't happen in our backyard. It didn't happen in the backyard of our community children because we didn't allow it to happen. And that is what true leadership is about. So for me, leadership development is no waiting for something to happen, no waiting for us to think about a solution. For me, leadership and development is responding to the call, responding from your stomach when you see that need, when you see people that at times are not able to speak, but you know deep in their eyes and deep in their look or in their emotion, there's something wrong with them. So I lead with courage, I lead with empathy, I lead with love, but I also lead by listening to the Dios te bendiga, amor. I also lead by making sure that that we bring others along the side. I never expect for us to learn about all the problems of the city. But I do think that we need to be involved. And when community residents are not involved, other people are making decisions for us. And then we cannot complain about who's leading if we're not sitting at the table. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be invited. It basically means that you drag that chair, you sit on it, whether they invite you or not, and you raise hell whenever it's necessary. For us, that's the base of our community organizing. That's the base of our work. So I think that leadership comes in different forms, and leadership is also about teaching people to join our efforts, but also being a mentor to younger people, to elders, that they can raise voices. Sometimes people don't want to hear my voice. Why Gladys Vega? She's always talking about the poor people of Chelsea. I don't want to be reminded of that. I want to be reminded for the thousands of Gladys that we have in the street. That's what I want to be able to lead with. That would be my biggest pride. And I think that is why this work is so important. And we are grounded in the roots of our community. Hola, mi amor, ¿cómo está? When I think about how I deal with burnout, I literally think of all the families that we help. I literally, it brings me hope. It fills me with joy. And I think that the best way of dealing with burnout is sitting around with ladies in my community that help shape who I am and the dedication that I have for social justice work. I think about the 1,000 females that we are transforming their life. 2 weeks ago we had over 300 people here. Majority, it was Latina Women's Month, and we had over 300 people here, celebrated who we are, our culture. And I think those things, when we have this type of activity, it literally gets me so energized. It gets me so happy to see the work that we're able to do. Burnout for me is knowing that we're going to be able to do much better for the people that are coming right next to us, for those young females, for those young people that we work so hard for. I know that in this space, we make a difference. The work that we do at the Survival Center, this is one of our greatest achievements. Nobody thought that that young woman of Chelsea that was bound to fail was going to build this survival center where people come here for classes, ESL classes, citizenship classes, weatherization programs, carpentry programs. We work completely on food sustainability. We teach our community members how to eat healthy. All these things we're able to do in this space. This space is also a place when there's a fire, they don't have a space where to go. I remove the furniture, we create a shelter here. And once again, all those things address my burnout. The passion that we have for this work is contagious, and that's how we do it at La Colaborativa. So I think getting an award for my leadership simplifies over 35 years of my work in building this community. It's about knowing that I didn't create a community of leaders just for me. I help people learn about their skills, be able to advocate on their own. So even if I'm never around the city, they're able to know how to advocate for themselves, how to organize, how to fight for justice, how to be part of the struggle with responsibility. It's also about the future. You know, we're building a community to be economically sound. I think that what I'm trying to build in this space is building a vocational school for young people, people of color, and adults that are in their midlife and they feel that I'm not doing well, I'm having 3 jobs in order for me to have a decent salary. Creating this building is sort of like my last big project to demonstrate that in my community the potential is the sky. And with love, resilience, and responsibility, they can accomplish whatever they want. This building, it's about them having 9 spaces where they can become plumbers, where they can become nail technicians, green jobs. This is the project where I want our community leaders to learn about the green industry, not only to change the environment, but to protect the environment while they're getting paid. So for me, it's sort of like the last seal of my career, representing the struggles, representing the commitment that I have to building this Chelsea that is about love, compassion, dignity, and respect for those in need, regardless if they're undocumented, documented, regardless if they're black, white. It's just a community coming together for the betterment of their future and for them to be economically sound, so that we are breaking that narrative or that those statistics that if you're a person of color, you need to be poor. So I think that's what this represents, and for me, the future of Chelsea will only be better because we have trained enough people to be able to do this on their own. Leadership for me at La Colaborativa begins when love meets action and when the courage doesn't allow for us to stay silent.